today's video card offering, I have a stained glass card that I've done. It's usually done with glitters, but I've got just a little bit different of a way to show you, so I thought you might enjoy that. The dies we'll be using today include the mini striplet called Rose Garden. I'm also going to be using the Teardrop adornment from the Configurations range. And I've got the complete petal Camellia for a little bit of a little floral element on the card. I think I'll show you cutting the Rose Garden striplet first. The striplets come in two different dies, so I'm going to use the inside piece here. Bring our plates over. Piece of coconut white card, and I'll just tape it into place with some removable tape. There we go. And run that through my grand caliper. I'm going to just go backwards with it too. It's a very detailed die, and that'll just give it an extra little bit of cutting. So you can see that's cut beautifully like that. I'm going to go ahead and do some embossing with it. So I've changed out my base plate, or my cutting plate, for my pink embossing plate and mat. And let me just give that a little roll with the tulle one. We'll get out most of those little bits. There we go. Carefully untape that. There we go. Now, there's just a couple little bits here to poke out. And I do have one I've prepared earlier, but you can kind of see how that looks. Now, I haven't used the outside cutting edge on that, and for this particular part of the card, we don't need that. So let me just tidy that. Set that to the side. I've gone ahead and cut one, and I've backed it with a piece of white card already. And I'm going to layer this up a little bit heavier. So I've done a second one, and I'm going to add a little bit of spray glue. And just tip it under here. Give it a quick spray. And line that up. Let's see, there's the top of it. Now your outside edge, it's not a problem whether it's the same and all. It's just the flowers on the inside. We're going to try and get lined up nice and straight there. Okay. Give that a second to catch. So why I've done that is just to build up a little bit of depth so you have something to put your colors into. For today's card, we're using some of our PVA glues. I've got the Berry Sparkle, the Spring Green PVA, and the Cosmic White PVA. So I'm going to go in with the Berry Sparkle, and I'm going to do my flowers first. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to start to fill in the areas where the flowers are. So I'm just going to go over and fill in the area that the roses are cut from. Now, if you'll notice, I'm not being very neat about it, and that's the beauty of this technique. You don't have to be very neat. I'll show you. I'll do a few more here, and then maybe this one. Just fill in that little reservoir we've created with the two die cuts together. And then we're going to come in, I'm going to add a little bit of the spring green to some of the leaves. There's that. There's some leaves up here. It's a beautiful green too. There's some leaves. Okay. And finally, I'll just add a little bit of the white. I want a white on white background. So I'm just going to add some of the white to what would be not the flower and not the leaf. So it's just the extra little backgroundy areas. There's some. There's some. And I actually missed a tiny bit of my rose right there, I think. There we go. Okay. All right, so you can see that it's not very neat. but that is absolutely fine. When it dries, it's not going to be very neat either. You can see how it's all over the flowers. Don't worry about that as well. So what you need to do is cut one more, get your spray glue out, pop a little on the back, and then line it up over the area you've cut upside down there. There we go. And so that will take away all that messy bit. So you can see now you have what looks like perfectly outlined flowers and leaves. Okay, so pop that to the side. And I've got one I've done earlier, already prepared, put the little bit extra over that. And I've cut a frame for it using just the outside portion of the die around a larger piece of white card. And I've done this a bunch of times. I know you've seen me do this. So I'm going to add that, just a little bit of mounting foam on the back. Just got one layer here. Peel that off. Okay. Just get it centered. I'm going to have to lean over just a tiny bit. Oop, 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 oop. About like that. Just kind of drop it into place. There we go. So now it's nice and framed. Okay, so I'm going to bring back the background of the card, and it's just a piece of white, coconut white card. And I've cut 1, 2, 3, and 4 of these, if I can get a hold of it there, teardrop adornments. Okay, I've cut them in white, and I've also used the extra background, or the extra outside cutting die to cut a solid white background for it too. So I've got a white on white kind of thing going on here. So what I'm going to do, and let me move that out of my way, bring in my paper cutter. I'm going to cut 2 of them in half. I've already done 1 of them. I'm just going to pop it right in the center of my, let me move this over here, paper cutter. There we go. So now what I have are a couple that I can put up in the top corners. A little bit of Cosmic Shimmer glue. There we go. Some on this one. Give that a second to start to set up. Do some on this one. And my last little guy here. Okay. So I'm going to seat this right in the middle of the card. I've got a little bit of mounting foam on the back. Just right about there. That looks nice and even. Hopefully. Yeah, maybe a little bit over. Can never get it right the very first try. There we go. I'm going to put these into the center around my striplet to really add a little bit of extra bling around it, I think. Just going to tuck that under the edge there. There we go. Pop these up into the corners, right even with the edge of the card. And let's do, let's see. This one's going to go down here. Right here. There we go. Pop this one up into the top corner, facing inward. There we go. And get our last adornment underneath the edge of this. There we go. So pretty. Now I've gone ahead and pierced a little background. I've just gone for a white on white with an extra little mat. I've got some mounting foam here. I'll pop that into the center of our piercing. There we go. And just a little bit extra embellishment. I've gone ahead and made one of the camellias, and I've sugared it with some ice snow. A little bit of white tulle, and I have a little sentiment hanging off the side, and I think I'll just pop that in place with a glue dot right in the corner here. So it's got a nice little sentiment sticking out there. Isn't that pretty? So now you can do your stained glass without having to mess about with glitter that gets everywhere. Sometimes I know some people really don't like glitter, but using the PVA glues, you can get the look of that much less messy too. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. We have a Creative Expressions Facebook page. I hope you'll go on there and like us and look for all of our Creative Expression YouTube videos. See you soon.